What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And our special guest host for the entire week, Miss Ieshea Hollins. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing wonderful. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. We have Ieshea on here, and it's a very Ieshea Hollins themed week with all of her upcoming projects. So she is the founder and CEO of Direnzic Technology. She's also a fractional CISO and author, which we go over her book on Tuesday's episode, and a podcaster, which we'll talk about today. So amongst other things, right? Like her LinkedIn bio will be on here. She's a pioneer in digital forensics. Her titles go on and on, all great stuff, right? So it's definitely good to have a subject matter expert on the podcast. Like, not saying Shannon is not, but Shannon doesn't have an assistant. I'm just putting that out there.
I do
Neither
not.
do I.
I do not.
So, but we want to definitely just do a quick recap of the week. So Monday we talk about some shenanigans going on from China and the Guam Pacific Theater, some living off the land. So we kind of break that down, and then what that kind of means to us as everyday people, right? Tuesday we discussed your book, Technology Guide to Divorce, and then we talked about how it's a series, right? So we kind of go into some other guides that will be coming out over time, and how you have an event coming up in Dallas for book signing and to promote your book and all that good stuff. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the week, right? So if you listen to only Friday's episode, you're missing out. Go back, like listen to Monday and Tuesday. Then Wednesday, we talked about your upcoming symposium, which for the month of June definitely ties everything together, right? So you talk about internet safety, and how your event has grown, and now it's going to be an entire week, and then there'll be a different topic or subject throughout. So definitely tune in to Wednesday's episode where we kind of break that down. And then we can go into a little bit more about how one of your upcoming guides will be about succession, and how we don't talk about that enough, especially within our community, right? But just in general, like people don't necessarily build their business continuity plans in real life, right? Like you might, as a member of your C-suite at business, but what are you doing at home, right? Like what does it look like when like you said, the inevitable happens, and those who need to have that information post your passing, like whether it be your bank account information, your passwords, and things of that nature. What does that look like? How do you build that out? So definitely tune in for Wednesday's episode where we go into that as well. But Friday's episode, right? So I would like to lead into your upcoming podcast and your co-hosts, and like, what is your podcast about? What is the theme? What will the cadence be? All that good stuff before we go into our normal shenanigans about what do you got planned for this Memorial Day weekend. So I give it to you, Ieshea.
Thank you so much, Ryan and Shannon. Again, it's been awesome being with you guys all week. This has been so much fun. So yes, it's we do have our podcast that we are launching. I think I talked to you about this when I was on in season 1, right? The name of the podcast is called Making It Make Sense. And so oftentimes we talk a lot about technology and or cybersecurity, digital forensics, all buzzwords, right? That we don't necessarily take the time to make it make sense, right? We don't understand what we're talking about, or even when we see, so you guys do an amazing job of capturing these, just in news today, right? Like Monday, right? What's going on in China and various things like that. But we don't necessarily understand how that impacts me and why it's important. So with our podcast, what we do is we take an investigative look at what's going on the landscape of technology and cybersecurity. We take those stories, we break them down, we make them relatable, give it back to you, and how does it impact you? And then, so once you've heard the story, then we'll kind of give you, what does that mean for me? How do I walk away with this? And so right now, one of my co-hosts is former FBI agent Miguel Clark. He'll be on, and so it adds a different element, right? So when you're talking about investigative look or looking behind the sheets, right? There is, what does the cyber crimes looks like, right? Holistically. And so that's how we're going to handle our podcast. We will be launching initially just once a month because, as you say, I am juggling quite a bit. But this has been a project that has been near and dear to my heart for a while, right? We cannot actively change how we're being victimized, right? And I hate calling us victims, but if we don't start thinking about things differently, therefore causing us to act differently, that's, like I said, for my conference, it's all a matter of consciousness. I have to be aware of it. Some things we do because we're just not aware. I don't know what that means. I see it. We get the letter, right? So-and-so got hacked, your information was exposed. We read the letter, we throw it in the trash because no one is making it relatable. Why do I care? It's not until we're having those conversations as to, why does my credit report or why does my background check show that I lived somewhere I've never lived, or that I own things I do not own, right? And now you're retroactively chasing down fixing your identity when that should have been something that was top of mind in the beginning. When I hear Panera Bread or any other person that got hit and I know that I eat there, that's when I started doing my research, right?
No, absolutely. And we talked about that, I want to say 2 weeks ago. It was a school district was hit with ransomware, and parents were getting SMS messages, and because it was not only just addresses and other non-public information, but it was also like behavioral stuff, right? Like if your kid had an IEP or something like that. So that's another factor where you're going to think that these are credible people that are reaching out to you, right? Like, oh, well, not many people know my son or daughter has ADHD and receives counseling for it. But this text message said I need to respond immediately to, X, Y, and Z. So people just don't necessarily think about that until it's too late. And now you've been, hacked, or you're missing money, or you're being blackmailed and things of that nature. So that's good that you guys are going to make it relatable, because it's hard for someone who's it's just not their subject expertise to connect all the dots some of the times. And in this case, the school board did a good job of releasing information, telling people to be worried or whatever. But like you said, if it's another company, they might not. They can just get LifeLock. They're like, here you go. Here's 24 months of protection that you'll never cash in, you'll never use. So no, that's good stuff.
And with the school one, right, they hit a soft spot, right? Like people that have children, like you do a lot for your children, right? So like, because it hits so close to home, you're like, oh, I have to hurry up and get on this, right? Like you're not even thinking as clearly as you may think any other time, right? Like when you see, like I get those spam messages about my Amazon account. I'm like, my Amazon account isn't even in my name. Like, delete. Like,
dear customer.
You know what I mean? Like,
what?
If I gotta
know my name,
I'm more thinking about that when you want me to spend more money or something like that. I'm like, Amazon, nah, I'm not doing that. But like if it comes to your children, you're like, ooh, I gotta hurry up and get on this and fix this,
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great. I can't wait to hear the podcast. You said once a month. Is it going to be like a long form conversational? Like, are you guys going to do like an hour and a half, something like that?
No, we're gonna try to stick right there at that 45-minute mark.
Okay.
That's what he and I said.
Gotcha. Like,
now, will we go long?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I listen to podcasts. I don't do this as frequently as I used to because I don't commute, but they go for 3 hours. That's a typical episode. 3 hours once a week.
No, I don't want to hear myself 3 hours.
There you go. No, I completely get that. But no, so I would love to have you and Miguel on our show to talk about your show in the future. So definitely, whenever you guys have the time, because I know you're busy. I'm sure he's very busy. You say he's retired though, so hopefully he's enjoying some of that retirement life.
Actually, no. So he retired from the FBI and jumped right back in. So he'll be able to give you like all of his stuff.
Gotcha.
He literally just got done touring London.
Okay.
So he went on a speaking tour over in London. And he also did an interview, I think, with one of the Tinder swindlers that made it onto the Netflix original. So I don't want to give too much, but yeah, he's doing a lot of wonderful things. And I would like to cross invite you guys once we really get going. I would love to have you and Shannon on to come over and talk with our team as well. So yeah, we're really excited though. You guys are doing wonderful things in this space. I enjoy you guys' podcast. I really do.
Oh no, we appreciate it. Yeah, if you want two cranky Air Force retirees, I don't think we understand what the word retirement means. Like I should be playing golf and nothing else. But no, that's awesome. Like, yeah, we would love, like I'm speaking for Shannon, like I'm his assistant. So we would love to come on as well. But no, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear it, because yeah, we have been talking about it since season 1. I remember us having that conversation. So it's good to see it come to fruition. So for those who have stuck with us for this long, it's like, first, thank you. Like it's been like, last week was rough. Like I did a solo week, and I listened to one episode. I was like, oof, there's too many uhs and ums, because you're talking in the vacuum, right? So like I'm better when I have a co-host than I am writing solo. But I'm striving for that consistency. So if Shannon is unable to make it for whatever reason, or vice versa, I want to, like, we haven't talked about this yet, so I'm putting you on the spot. I would like for the show to still be recorded, just for that consistency, right? Because we're looking for partnerships, we're looking for sponsorships and things of that nature. Now, if we've moved platforms, we're trying to grow our base, and I would like for it to, I'm not going to get better on the production side. Like, what you get is what you get right now. So if I can hire somebody to do that based upon the show, starting to make a little bit of revenue, then I'm gonna do that. I'll outsource that as quickly as possible, because I do not enjoy it.
It is difficult. It is difficult and
Right.
time consuming. People don't get it. It's like when you think podcasts, you think, oh, they just sat down and then they talked and then they closed it and launched it. And the lies you believe.
No, you gotta theme it. You gotta tie in all the links. You gotta make the thumbnails, which I hate. That's why the thumbnail looks the same. I just changed the text. They're like, man, this is crappy production. Like, no, it's lazy production. That's what it is. But no, so again, can't wait to hear it. But so this is the Friday episode, the weekly rundown, where we talk about everything non-site related as well. How was everybody's week? Like, what did you guys get into this week? I started with Shannon.
Not much, actually. I just finished up what's that TV series, Citadel.
Oh, it's over?
It's only 6 episodes for this season.
Oh, I gotta jump on it. I stopped at episode 2. It wasn't bad. I got busy.
Well, I don't know, man. So like you don't like the triple and quadruple cross, and like it kind of
crosses.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of crosses. Like if you quadruple cross, are you back where you started at that point? Like that's, you know what I
think
mean?
so. I think you're back to like I was just playing. Like
it's like Biggie, it was all a dream.
Right.
But no, I liked the series. It was pretty good. I did not see the twist coming for everything.
Okay.
It was pretty good. But that's kind of it. Like I didn't do a lot of taking in any movies or anything like that. I plan on taking the boys, just the boys, boys night out, day out, whatever way we end up doing it.
Okay.
See Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We'll see if we make it happen. Because my oldest son is at work, he's old enough to have a job. So I can't be like, hey man, let's go have some fun. Go ahead and ditch that job. Like, nah, man,
right.
Do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, so we may end up doing that. But other than that, man, nothing really going on this way. What about you, Aisha?
Oh, this is gonna sound so this past week, I was actually awarded the Woman in Technology Award of the Year.
Congratulations.
So Thank you. Thank you so much by Dallas Business Journal. So that was super excited or exciting. I had family that came in from out of town. It was humbling. It was surreal for us, just being able to be in Dallas. We've been here just shy of 3 years. We started in Louisiana. So that was it was something to already, be able to be recognized here in the Dallas area. So it was like, because Dallas can be intimidating, right? It's like it's a large market. And so but then similarly, right after I was able to get my award, then my daughter did the whole graduation, right? So it's like the end of a year, she's getting ready to go into the next. So we were able to do, I don't know if you guys have heard about the immersive game box, which is, so it's a kind of like a virtual reality gaming place where you go and you put on like the headset, and so you do interactive play, but you're literally playing with like teammates, and like you're racing to touch the wall, and so it's like you're playing without the controller, so your whole body is able to play. And so
you're like on one of those treadmills type situation, like are you running on something?
No, you're not running. Well, you not on a treadmill, but you're running around the room, right? Like, so it activates which one of you are supposed to be moving at the time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then, but you can't take your hat off, right? So it's like basically it's sensory, right? So there was that, and then we did the immersive Disney. So we did that with my daughter, and so it was, where you're surrounded, like, so for like Little Mermaid, it was like you looked like you were literally under the sea with Sebastian while he sung, and there were bubbles everywhere. So it was a good way to just kind of close out the week. It was it was her being able to be her before her summer started.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, so we're in Florida, right? So all the schools in my county ended school on Friday. So like the kids were extremely pumped. Like the high schoolers, like whatever high school pump looks like, right? Because they have to act like they don't like anything. But they're happy for the break. But the youngest, like every day, it seemed to be something. Like they had like bounce houses and slides, and they're eating popsicles and watching movies, which were still educational based. But like he had a blast. So I was like, man, I kind of miss those days, because these other two, they boring.
So do you not feel differently though? You're like, man, what are my property taxes going to? Like, you eating popsicles in school now? Like,
I'm like good, because the thing is, like they were talking about cutting the music department. Like they're like gonna they have 2 full-time teachers, I want to say, in my county teaching at his elementary school, and all of my kids have gone, like, because we've been here the longest out of all my assignments, right? So we retired here. So all of them went to the same grade school, middle school, and now the older 2 are in high school. So we were like, man, because every year we go and see the event, right? They have like a musical type event. Like this year, my youngest, he had a little cameo in it, right? Got it recorded. He still talks about it. He was super excited. But they were talking about cutting the program a little bit, which would mean that they wouldn't be doing the event or whatever. So at the very last minute, they announced a couple of days ago, they're like, hey, we got the funding, we're going to keep it going, all that good stuff. I'm like, yes. Like, so I'm tax money I feel is being spent appropriately, at least in my county, but I can't vouch for all the rest of them. Like going from Virginia to Florida education, like it's different. Like it's not bad, but it's just a lot of people come down here, and then I'm on a tangent, but a lot of people come down here to retire, right? So we don't pay state tax. It's only property taxes and whatever else they're pulling for that. But a lot of people don't want to invest in that. They kind of balk at it because they're like, my kids are in college, or my kids are adults. Like, I don't want to put this money in. So it's always that fight, right? Snowbirds want to retire down here. They don't have any kids. They've been out of kids for a minute. So, my tax dollars can only stretch so far, so I need them to continue to put in the pot so my kids can eat popsicles and jump in bounce houses for the last week of school. Have fun, right? Like, because it's still educational, but you gotta socialize the kids or else they'll be on their tablet all day, which that was what will probably happen this summer. I gotta figure it out. So also with that, he's in a Roblox camp for the summer. So he really wants to learn how to script and code. Like, so I think he's gonna be my technology kid, right? The other two are medical. Like my daughter wants to be a nurse. She's taking her clinicals next year. My middle son, he wants to be a anesthesiologist, so he's on medical track. But the youngest, he's like big into like, I want to make games, I want to write code. He's playing around with the he'll mess around with the HTML script on the computer, like changing colors and font sizes and stuff like that. Like he's like fascinated by it. So we're able to find him a Roblox virtual boot camp, or like it's supposed to be like I think it's a max of 4 kids per teacher, so it's like really small, and they get to socialize at the beginning, and then they kind of build off of what they currently know about Roblox, and then how to go in the Roblox studio and make a game and all that good stuff. So pretty excited for him because he's super pumped. So I hope he learns as much as he requires, because he has a really high bar right now. He's like, I want to change the models, I want to change this, I want to script events. I'm like, oh, I'm not there yet, buddy. Like, you're 8.
Well, but I would encourage him to definitely do
yeah.
it. So my daughter did the Roblox camp as well.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys know, because you may not, because it was news to me. But so as we were going through it, the kids that learn how to do the development for the Roblox, if they build their own cities, like all the times that your kids are asking you to buy Robux,
Yes.
right? The kids that develop their own towns and their own whatever, they can actually get paid. So like, ooh, yeah. So
Okay.
I was telling my daughter, like when I put her in camp, and like in the camp that we went through, they were telling us how to monetize, like so they can build their own, they can monetize it. So because they're always inviting people to their server to come play with them, right? Well, come play with me, and then they want you to spend their Roblox. But if the village or whatever they build belongs to them, a percentage of all Roblox will go to the developer. So you have 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds actually making money on their own Roblox. So I told her, I was like, oh, sweetheart, mommy stopped giving you Roblox. You will now, whatever you earn is what you can reinvest what you earn back in, right? But it's also a way to, kind of teach them. It's a skill set. It's a way to learn how to code and develop, but also how do you, these games, like sometimes we do need to instill in the kids, like it's not free, so it shouldn't be free to you. So strategically figure out, the same way we had to go sell, wash cars and toss newspapers. This is your version of go toss some newspapers and come back. If you want to spin it on Roblox, good luck.
You know what's funny about that is that when I was younger, right? I think about this when I was younger, and then my children the same way. All that stuff I wanted my parents to buy, all of a sudden didn't want that so much anymore when it was my own money. I was like, you know what? I don't need to spend that much. That's kind of expensive. I don't need that anymore, And like my oldest son, like even though he has a job, like he doesn't spend money on anything. You know what I mean? Like he's just like his car insurance. That's like the only thing he has to pay to us, right? Because he's on our car insurance. But but like he doesn't buy anything else. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I know the feeling, son. Like all of a sudden you don't want all that stuff I used to buy for you myself. Your mother and I were buying for you. You're like, nah, I don't need it. I'm good.
Right. No, exactly. So yeah, no, that's that. So he would be pumped if he could do that, if he can monetize it, because he was working on something the other day. I think they call it Obby. It's like an obstacle course. And he was trying to make T-shirts so he could sell it in his in the marketplace or whatever. And I was like, I need to learn more first. So my intent though is, because it's during my lunch break, and I work from home. So when he's on with the instructor, I'm going to be adjacent, so I can learn a little bit. Like I don't want to code anything, but just I know he's going to have questions after, right? Like so that way I can be able to help until the next class. I think it's weekly. So, but he's super excited. And it's going to keep him, I mean, he's still going to be engaged in, you know, electronics, but it'll keep him from just sitting there trying to YouTube all day. So that'll be good. But aside from that, what I do this week? So I recorded the webinar. So that'll be a thing. That'll be promoted pretty soon. So check me out on LinkedIn. I'll be pushing that down everybody's social media pipeline pretty soon. I went to Little Mermaid. There you go. That's what it was. So like this month of June is crazy for movies. So my daughter wanted to see The Little Mermaid, and I wanted to support, but I didn't want to go. I just wanted to like, here you go. You go see Little Mermaid. Because Disney live action is just okay sometimes, right? So I was just like, I definitely want to support. Like I like I like the casting. It was actually a pretty good cartoon when I was a little kid, but I was just like, not really in the mood. But she was like, "You're gonna go see Little Mermaid with me." So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go see Little Mermaid with you. And we drug Junior as well to go see it. We all had a great time. It was really good. They nailed all of the classic songs, and it actually looked really good underwater. Like they did a really good job with not making the CGI look like CGI. It actually fleshed out the story, like because I didn't expect much from Little Mermaid, but like they gave context to the world and all that stuff. Because people, there were some really loud people who didn't like the recasting, so to speak, of a fictional mermaid, right? But they resolved that in the first 30 seconds of the movie without even having to speak about it. You're just like, oh yeah, it does make sense. So, like, I don't want to give it away, but I was just like, oh, okay, like, or not 30 seconds. I would say they introduced her, they introduced the prince, and then they introduced the more of King Triton and the family. You're just like, oh, okay, I get it. Like it, in the context of this fictional mermaid world, there are mermaids of color. Got it. Let's keep moving. But yeah, they did an amazing job. I thought it was really good. They added a couple new songs. So I was like, this feels like very Hamilton and one of the songs. And then at the end, it was like Lin-Manuel Miranda, executive producer. I was like, oh, okay. He put his touch on it. I got you. Yeah. So I was like, okay. But yeah, and the movie theater was packed, so it's gonna do well too. Like I was afraid because I had a bad experience where I went to, not a bad experience, but I went to the theater to see a different movie, and they played a Little Mermaid promo, and I happened to be sitting around some people who grumbled, and I was just like, this movie's not gonna do well, just because people don't like the casting or whatever. I went, and it was packed of people of all variety of, you know, I saw older people, younger people, people of all ages and colors, and like everybody had a good time. So it's gonna do just fine. So those people who were sitting next to me, they didn't show up, and I'm glad. you don't get to enjoy this movie. But then also I had to buy tickets for Spider-Man. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse drops on the second, or I think we bought our tickets for the third. So I gotta take all the kids to that one. I don't know if y'all remember how much movie tickets used to cost. They don't cost that anymore. Like, I mean, the movie theater is nice. It's got the faux, I guess like laminate hardwood floors, got leather reclining seats, they with warmers in it. There's space, right? So you actually get some space between you and the person next to you. But those tickets, they man, listen, if you take a family of four to the theater, it's gonna be like $150 event.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
But
I'm definitely aware. Like I'm even a rewards member for one of these movie rewards.
I should join. Like as much money as I'm spending.
Like for me, like we don't go like every month or whatever, and they have rollover, right? So there are some times like when it's three of us going, like we can get 3 free tickets because I haven't gone for 3 months or whatever it may be.
Oh,
right?
so like a movie pass type situation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like so with the one that I'm with, I'll get a free one every month. And then when you do go, like if you buy concessions and things like that, you get reward points that if you get a certain amount, you can get another ticket.
Okay.
At a certain amount. So like for me, there have been times like during COVID, like maybe because I just wasn't paying attention, like we kept the subscription going. So there was like after theaters were opening up, and there's a little, you know, not as dangerous as it was before, right? Like to get infected. Like there was a point where we were going to movies and it was like free. I was like, wow, golly, like okay, all right. I guess we've been had it going for a little while, but that point ended and then it started paying. I was like, man, is this what it costs? Is this what it costs for movies now? So I would tell you, like with a lot of places now, like I know it's hard, right, for people that work and are busy, but like if you go on Tuesdays, they have a reduced ticket price day. You know what I mean? At least here in Colorado, that's what they do, right? So Tuesday, I guess it's not a busy day for theaters, but like tickets are only like $6 or something like that.
Oh,
so
yes.
Yeah.
But yes, that's pretty much it for my week. I played, a little bit of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I've been enjoying that. I'm a big Zelda fan. Shannon asked me how many hours I had. I was like, man, maybe 8. And then I looked I looked at the actual tracker. It was like, you've been playing for 30 hours. I was like, ooh, maybe I have an addiction. I got sucked in there. It didn't feel like I spent that much time. I was just like, I barely scratched the surface of this game. I've been playing around a little bit. It's like, yeah, maybe like 8 hours. Nah, I got a full day in there.
Oh, well, we will definitely say you have definitely retired. Like, according to your game box, you are retired, sir.
I don't even know how to squeeze that time in there, to be honest with you. It feels like I've been working like 12s and 14s. So I was like, it's probably like I get an hour a day for the past month, right? I was like, okay, that makes sense. I feel a little bit better.
Okay.
A little bit better about myself. But yeah, that's been pretty much my week. And then obviously we started to talk about getting you scheduled. We got you in here fairly fast. So I appreciate your flexibility. And then it definitely synced for this month with all of your upcoming projects and all the stuff you're doing. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect timing. And this is a reward for the listeners who listened last week through my solo episodes. So thank you for returning. And here's some good content. So but no, that's great. Again, I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hopefully we can do the crossover, get you on ours. We get on yours, get that synergy going, all that good stuff. And it's just good to have more people in this space. Again, just highlighting we do exist. We are members of the community who are definitely contributing. Like for yourself, like again, you're a founder, CEO of your company. You're a public speaker. You have the symposium coming up fairly soon. You're an author. So to be able to show that on the platform and say, hey, like there's people in the space who are making great contributions, right? Like, so we need to grow from this current 9% to being more of a factor within the space, as well as taking on those roles. I want to say last time we checked, it was like 3 or 4% people of color who were actually in those C-suite and senior level positions like yourself, right? So we definitely want to grow in that regard as well. And I think it just helps with you producing so much content and getting it out there, just so people can know, like, okay, like we are in this space, and we can strive to do great things. We can be people who are in the seat making those decisions as well. And then also for like people who come on the show, like Mike Ware, who's looking at hiring more people of color into that space. Or we had Gabe Davis, who works for CISA, and CISA did the hand the mic or pass the mic over on social media, where they had their people of color who were working for CISA kind of take over the social media accounts. Like, I think it's really a good look. I like to see it continue to grow and keep going, because there are so many people, talented people out there who are doing great works. So it's good to start to see that on the different platforms. So now you're going to build another platform yourself. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying and working at it, right? Because it's the thing about it is, like, we do need to see us out there, right? One of my topics as I've been touring has been, please don't call me a unicorn. I'm rare, but I'm real.
Right.
When I'm looking at and it's hard. It's not necessarily been an easy journey, right? I've been a small business owner for 15 years in a space that did not necessarily embrace me, right? I got for years, and I talked about in our first podcast together, it was the whole, who are you and what are you doing even here, right? So you're always trying to validate yourself or make yourself relevant, and then when you start going higher and higher, and it's like, and now, so for every time you feel like, oh, I've worked my way in a room, you find another ceiling, right? You find another reason why, okay, well, no, she doesn't belong here, why is she here? Or especially at that C-suite level, right? And so even when we, as I was getting my award, one of the major sponsors, she pulled me to the side and she said, we finally tackled women in tech, right? Because it's so hard, for us to even find women in tech. But then when you start looking at women in tech that actually own their own businesses, if you think the number is already small, it just gets minuscule, right? It's like, so when you're looking around and you're trying to find mentors and you're trying to see yourself, right? How do I know that I could ever be a business owner? How do I know I could ever be at the board level? So that for me became why it was like, some of the things that I do, it's a lot of give back, which does make for a very strenuous calendar, because there's like, how do you make money?
Right.
And then how do you do these passion projects, right? And so we are always looking for ways to like collaborate, and or like, if I don't have to do it all, like I said, this week has been amazing. Just being with you guys it's amazing, because it's like, you need help, and sometimes you got to reach down and pull up right along with you. So, but it is very important that we stop looking at, oh, wow, she did it, but nobody else can. Unicorns are mythical creatures. So ununicorn me. Don't, because like literally that's what I began to be called. Like, oh, she's just no, she's not. No, she's not. Unicorns aren't real. So I may be rare, but I am real. And so I've been on tour with that.
No, that's awesome. And yes, that is definitely a word, right? Like you're over here preaching. Hopefully, in the near future, right? Hopefully in the near future, we'll start to see more people kind of be bold and be courageous and put themselves out there, because there are allies, like you say, but like we had a conversation where I won't say it was an interview where you brought somebody in to the into the room with you, and they kind of they went from friend to foe.
Yes.
And I hope that's not happening as much anymore, right? Like where we're giving like you said a hand up, but also partnership, right? Like this, like a situation like this. Like I love having you on the show, and then if we can do the switch over, we're on your show. This needs to be the norm, right? Like it needs to be. You have a platform, let's get you on. You have a blog, let's get you to write something. You have some kind of skill set, right? Like whether it be to write or to perform or whatever, let's get that in there as well. So hopefully our fan base is not Joe Rogan's fan base, right? Like, so I'm not preaching to millions of people, but for those who are listening, if you have something, reach out to somebody. Like if you like on LinkedIn, I do it all the time. Like if I see you, someone post something that has anything to do with our content whatsoever, I'll jump on it and say, hey, like I want to champion this, yada, yada, yada. But also, if we can work together in some capacity, I'd love to do that as well, right? And just put the invitation out there. Like I want to see that more. Hopefully people are gonna feel comfortable in doing that with me as well. Like every now and then I'll get somebody, like I have a guest coming on next week. He's doing some big things in training, and he just put out there, he was like, hey, my goal for this month is to be on 2 podcasts. And a friend of a friend, like, how sometimes you see other people's likes and things of that nature. I saw it and I was like, hey, I got a podcast. You want to jump on it? Let's do it. And then we squeezed them in just for the month was out, because of, scheduling. It's always tough. but that should again be the norm, right? Like you have a book, and now you have it's going to be a series. Let's get that on the show. Let's talk about it. Like, I don't know. It makes too much sense to me.
Everybody else does it, right? And that's another conversation. That's a whole conversation in and of
Right.
itself.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing I think people don't get. You don't understand support until it's you that needs the support. And sometimes just pay it forward, right? It's really not hard. It's not a hard concept. You don't have to, it costs you minimal, right? Like
Right.
just a few minutes out of your day. Like, what is that? That's either one Zelda game for you, or right? It's one TikTok for somebody else. It's like, and so like that's why I said, like, I very much so advocate. If you're on LinkedIn and you see something, everything you just said. And so one of the things that I have been supporting too has been minorities in cybersecurity. And that is being run by Mary Cheney, and she's doing amazing things in this space, right? Which is highlighting, making sure that people of color are being recognized, that yes, these jobs are out there. People need the diversity in the room. Where are we finding where are we finding those people? How are we introducing them to, certain jobs, right? My issue, like I said, I want you to understand the importance of, so like that's what I'm championing. We do a lot of training, we do a lot of talking about how do we make this topic, this space fun, right? Which I feel like that's kind of what you guys are doing too. It's like, yeah, let's talk about it in bite-sized chunks, right? But that's also, we're human. There's life that goes on beyond this. So let's talk about the movies. Let's, yeah. So and once we can make this where it's relatable, tech cannot remain either I'm all in or I'm just terrified. It's like those are the two lanes that we see tech, right? So you don't mind just blindly signing all these terms and conditions just so you can play. You're giving away all of your privacy rights, because there are there are hardly any privacy laws anymore, because we're doing away with them little by little. We're just chipping away at it. And then we don't understand why we're being victimized left and right the way we are. You gotta have those conversations, and you gotta be able to be at the right tables, at the right rooms. It's like every time we talk, it's like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Right. But if you didn't think about it, how many other people weren't thinking about it either?
Right. Very true. All right. So I'm going to land this plane. I'm going to thank you for your time. So always thank you, Shannon, for always
Yes.
always jumping on. I'm glad I could book you and get you on, like.
Well, next week I'm going to have an assistant, so you're going to have to go through them.
I'm going to go through your assistant. Okay. Like, I see where it's going. And thank you again, Ieshea. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Hopefully we can get you back on, you and Miguel, so you guys can talk about the podcast and all that good stuff. We'll love to meet him as well, just to pick his brain, because it sounds like he has some cool stories to tell. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Cannot wait to see the symposium and all those good things that you'll be talking about for the month of June. Again, like you're an author, right? So the people should definitely pick up the guide, and then all of the guides in the series that are coming up. So definitely go through all of the links. We should have a link to the landing page for the guide, so that way you guys can pick it up. And then there's also a video on the page as well, so that way you can hear more of Ieshea's thoughts, and subscribe to all of her social medias and all that good stuff. She's on pretty much every platform, and all those links will be in there as well. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, and Twitter. Look out for my webinar coming up on the 9th. So it'll be my first professional webinar, and I'll leave a link for that as well. Yeah, and just continue to tune in. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, and then Fridays talk about everything else that you just heard. So movies, games, books, all that good stuff. So stay safe, stay secure.
Bye.